Today I've got this Skoda Fabia with a engine light and a glow plug light, and the fault code is P00 Alpha Foxtrot. Turbo or supercharger boost control A module performance. A few tests that I've done here with the engine ignition on, I got 3.9 volts. I've got 5 volts, the next wire, the middle one, is 3.9, and the bottom one is a ground. And I just back probed them with this back probing pin. They're all 3.9. You start the engine, it should change from when the ignition's on. That should be one side of where it goes to, and then with the full vacuum at idle, at takeover, that should move. And it's not. I'll start the car and show you. Actually, I won't start the car because I've already gone that far and nothing changed, just stayed the same with the engine running. So I came over here, connected my vacuum pump, and this hose goes all the way around here and into the actuator, the vacuum on there. So I'm basically doing the same job with this as that pump should do, and if I give this some vacuum there, pump it up, we can see the volts lowers and lowers and lowers right down. Okay, and it's holding pressure, it's holding vacuum, and that's holding its position there. So we know we're good here. I'll let that go, let it all go. We're back to 3.9. I'm going to put this back onto the solenoid right there. Then I'll start the engine. That should move the same with the engine. I gotta press the clutch, you see. Right, it started it. Now that power probe's not going to be connected. I'm going to have to plug it in again. It'll have fallen out of the end like that. 3.6. It's not where it should be, right? It's not where it should be. It's probably moved a little bit because I've actuated that with a vacuum and got it to free off. Maybe it was sticking a bit, but it's not doing what it should be here. So what we can do is check this. We know the vacuum's good here. When I know that we've got vacuum going to it from the engine, and then the last thing I can check is these wires there. Now I got the top hose there disconnected, so I shoved this vacuum gauge in there. I'm going to start the car again. I'll have to press the clutch. I want to make sure we've at least got vacuum where we should have. I'm going to fall over here. Right, it's running. So, do we have vacuum? No vacuum getting to this. I'll try the bottom one in case I'm in the wrong hose. Okay, so I was in the wrong hose. We do have vacuum on the bottom one. There was a 50-50 chance. You know, there's 2 hoses left. So we've got vacuum going to it. I'll check these are actually on the right way around though. And then I've got these to back probe. But yeah, we've got plenty of vacuum going to it and maybe nothing coming out. That's the problem. Now I'm going to try the electrical side of this. So I got it front probed. I got a ground connected to the jumper cable and the power probe. I've got vacuum applied there, and if I touch this and give it power on here, we lose the vacuum. So we know that this solenoid's working. We know it's working. So if it looks like it's working and there was power going to it, a ground side control, I'll show you that in case I've not shown you already. So with the ignition on, and then back to this. Before I didn't need the ignition on, I was using this totally independent. What do we have there? We see we've got a control. So the higher line that you see across there is showing it's mostly at battery voltage, so most of the time it's not doing anything. And it was like that all the time. So I'm going to start it again, because we know that the power is there, because the power comes through the other wire. I'll show you that. I'll just put that in there. Right, we know the power's there. That's just a steady line of power all the time. So that's the power side. And this one here, the purple coloured one, is going to be the ground. But it's not switched on for much of the time there. Okay, I'll start it up using this O'Toole. I got an O'Toole smoke machine, and I seen this. I thought I'll give them a try. I've been happy with the smoke machine. I know it's probably better stuff, better smoke machines, but I've been happy with it. So, what's the next thing to do? The only thing I've done now, off camera, I didn't like how these looked. Like they were in different places. They looked like they were crossing over. They look like they're crossing over. So I might do something about that. See if they're actually coming out the right places on here. For some reason it's not controlling it on and off. Hardly any, well, it's hardly moved. It's basically in the same place. This is the out, and there, out. So that should be going to the solenoid. It's not going to be the bottom one. I wouldn't think that says atmosphere, and there's no vacuum in that. So for whatever reason, this one here, that I know if I put the vacuum pump on it, I get that to move, and I also see the change on the multimeter, or the power probe, so I know electronically the vacuum, the movement in that, everything's good. Everything's good. The hose is good, it holds vacuum. The only thing that I don't have is this. It doesn't like it, it's no good. Need a new one. Plenty of vacuum on the inlet, nothing coming out of it. Notice how bright the test light is? I've replaced the solenoid with a test light. And, well, we're going to have a fault code. I had to clear the fault code first. We're going to have a fault code. No code, sorry. There's no fault code. I would have thought because the position sensor is not going to be where it needs it to be. But at the moment it's not. Trigger the fault code. See how bright that is, so we know we're good. I'll have a look at the pulse width now. See, oh, it's just lowered it, so it'll have just triggered it. See, that's dim. I bet the pulse width was different, so we know it can provide a pulse width. The only thing is it doesn't like that new part, this aftermarket part that's no name. Somebody said it's a warranty. I gotta come back and check this. It's the same fault. It's already had a part on it once. Yeah, cheap you buy twice. You know, you pay cheap you buy twice, or whatever the saying is. Buy cheap, buy twice. But this means you pay a diag as well, because I've come out and done the same test I did last time. I'm happy that, you see how bright it was? Now that fault code's back. I bet I've got one of those two fault codes that I saw before. I go for Volkswagen because it's basically a Skoda. You see the 00AF, the first one that I had? Right. And it's dimly lit because it's pulse width. I'm going to put this in here, probably get it set up with both hands and show you what the pulse width looks like when it's brighter. And it's not because of a voltage drop, it's changing the pulse width. So I'll go and clear the fault code, get this set up and show you what that looks like. That's what the pulse width looked like earlier on. With the engine off you can hear me better. I've cleared the fault code. Remember, when the light is dim, that's what the pulse width looks like. At the moment, the light's back to being bright. Pulse width now is mostly on. See, it's all the way down most of the time, so it's mostly on. That's mostly at ground, and very little amount of the time it's at the top voltage for power. So that means this is the ground side. You've got power on one wire, ground on the other, and the ground wire is pulse width modulated. Most of the time now it's off. In other words, no, most of the time it's pulled to ground, which means it's making a circuit. The whole time before, it was the other way round, and that's bright. So we just need a new sensor. I could do a resistance check on that out of curiosity, see what it is. It doesn't like something about it. See, that's on to dim now, that light. If I check this again, see, most of the time now it's on, and very little amount of the time it's off, and that's why that's a lot dimmer. It doesn't need to be on, it's just doing it. I think if it's on all the time, it'll probably just burn out the winding, so that's why when it was trying to be on all the time before, it had that pulse every once in a while, switching it off where the voltage went higher. I think it's just so it doesn't burn out the winding in there, and it seemed that there's no change over here, so eventually it was like, that's not right. I'm giving it more vacuum, there's no change there, so it's just decided not to bother. And it's kind of reversed it. So using a test light and a vacuum gauge, been able to prove that the new part is the fault. I'll just do a resistance check of the new part, or the faulty new part, and that's about as much as I can do. Then I'll give them a bill for coming out and checking the same thing again. There's the resistance check. It keeps fluctuating. I don't know why, because it's not connected to anything. I'm using back-probing leads and this. Maybe I'll get a different multimeter and just check it and see what that says it is, because that doesn't make sense why it's changing. There it is, 10.8, not 108, 10.8 ohms, so I wouldn't use this again to rely on the ohms test. I just switched it to a multimeter. 10 ohms. There we go, 10 ohms. So that must be a bad reading, or the valve may not work. What make is this? Doesn't actually have a name, which means it's probably just the cheapest of the cheap they could find, and that's why I'm back here. Anyway, that's how you can test it, a few things. Maybe this helped because you can see the scope, but I find that works much better on the ohms test. This one uses the 12 volts from the battery, as far as I know, to do the resistance test, and these do it on a much lower voltage because there's not 12 volts of battery power in here. So hopefully it's helpful to somebody. No power, no boost, flashing light, turbo, fault code, and it's the new sensor that's the fault. Thanks for watching.